alongside us to fight for our future. It is time we take action. The climate crisis is getting worse. The droughts are lasting longer, the heat is getting heavier, and the wildfires are burning down our forests and our homes. Over 1 million acres of land was burned down in the 2024 fire season, and 40,000 people had to evacuate. The fire season started as early as May in 2021, and over 100 people died in the 2021 heat dome. Our future is burning. Who knows how many more people will die by the droughts? How many more people will die by the heat waves? How many more homes will burn down? And how many more livelihoods will get destroyed by the droughts? Our lives and those of all future generations are at stake. It is time we take action. We demand action. If we are to take on the fossil fuel industry, transition to clean energy, and stop the worst impacts of the climate crisis, we have to be ready to fight. City leaders made a promise to us young people almost 10 years ago with the passage of the Climate Recovery Ordinance. This ordinance committed to reducing fossil fuel use by 50% of 2010 levels by 2030. Yeah. We are nowhere near this goal. Even so, we have made steps in the right direction. Young people, social justice activists, and many others have made history with the passage of the electrification bill earlier this month. This ordinance committed to reducing fossil fuel. This ordinance requires new homes to be built all electric, both for people's safety and for the climate. Now, Northwest Natural, the largest gas utility in Oregon, is working to roll back this progress. They have already spent tens of thousands of dollars trying to get the bill repealed, and they will not stop there. We will not let this stand. We will not be silent. We will not allow these villains to steal our future from us for profit. We are ready to fight.
Hello everyone. My name is Jarrell Brown and I am the Environmental Climate Justice Organizer for our local NAACP. Thank you all for joining us here today to call out Northwest Natural and their shady attempts to undermine our local democratic process. Yep. Here in Eugene, we have taken an important step forward with the passage of Oregon's first residential electrification ordinance. But Northwest Natural is trying to roll back this victory as we speak. And we cannot let them win. We need to stand up to them and demand change now. Concrete action is necessary to pass common sense climate policy, because the longer we delay the transition off of fossil fuels, the worse the consequences will be. Passing ordinances is one of the duties of City Council. And this ordinance was passed by the same process as the other 96 cities and counties in the country passing their own. When something is deemed bad for health and well-being, local and national governments throughout history have exercised their authority to protect the populations they serve, i.e. us. This issue has been discussed for the last 2.5 years with over 10 hours of City Council work sessions and public hearings and countless public testimony opportunities. And what was Northwest Natural's response to this? A barrage of fossil fuel industry misinformation meant to weaken our democratic processes here in Eugene. Northwest Natural is utilizing their $1.69 billion network, hiring an election firm, and has already been paying dozens of signature gatherers $35 an hour to confuse and mislead our community with a direct aim of trying to undermine local democracy. Northwest Natural is not our friend. They have shown time and time again that they are more than capable of lying to and confusing our community in order to keep siphoning revenue from our pockets at the expense of our health and our planet. This cannot continue to happen. We can't keep inching towards doing the right thing. We need bold and comprehensive action now. We need investment in renewable energy sources, not fracked gas. We need to electrify our homes, buildings, and transportation systems. We need to make sure that everyone has access to safe, livable homes and clean, affordable energy. This issue is about youth, frontline communities, disabled folks, renters, environmentalists, and ordinary Eugene residents dedicating thousands of hours to support common sense climate policy against the deep pockets of a fossil fuel corporation trying to undermine democracy. The clock is, as it always has been, ticking. We don't have time to waste. We need to act urgently, and we need to act together. So I'm asking all of you here, and everyone else out there, to join me and everyone in demanding change. We need to stand up to Northwest Natural and demand they stop putting their profits ahead of our health and our planet. We cannot afford to be complacent or to think that someone else down the line will take care of it for us. It is up to us, all of us, to make sure that we have a safe and livable Eugene for ourselves and for future generations to come.
Because my name is Bailey, I'm a community member, I use she, they pronouns, and I'm here to talk about the specific individuals, aside from just Northwest Natural, who are here in Eugene and thwarting our attempts to have good climate policy that moves us forward. So, so, we all know about Northwest Natural and how they poured thousands and thousands of dollars into their effort to keep polluting our home, how they hired a doctor to downplay the health risks in a hearing about on the house. Yeah, boo! How the canvassers are paying $35 an hour or spreading misinformation here on our streets in Eugene to confuse voters. That they are behind the fossil fuel front group, Eugene Residents for Energy Choice, masquerading as a local grassroots opposition. But Northwest Natural isn't alone. They're being aided and abetted by fossil fuel fools here in Eugene, starting with our own Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber has a long track record of collaborating with Northwest Natural in order to shape the direction of policy in Eugene and is currently hosting the referendum process on its premises. Boo! Its president, Brittany Quick Warner. These people have names. Brittany Quick Warner. And its director of marketing and communications, Samantha Roberts, have repeatedly testified against electrification and publicly criticized community groups like us for supporting electrification. Now the Chamber has publicly announced that it's going to be a member of Eugene for Energy Choice, which again is funded by our not friends at Northwest Natural. and is like putting all the like Northwest Naturals content on their website and just doing all the same stuff. Does that sound like people who have our best interests at heart? No! When I say Chamber of Commerce, you say our climate isn't for sale. Chamber of Commerce! Our climate isn't for sale! Chamber of Commerce! Our climate isn't for sale! All right, next up, Funk/Levis. What's happening here is a little funky. They are a PR, branding, and crisis communications firm. That doesn't sound good. The Northwest Natural has hired to represent their like little community, so-called community group. Anne-Marie Levis, these people have names. Anne-Marie Levis is also a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and she's pretending to be a community member, speaking as a community member, and not disclosing that she is paid by Northwest Natural, that she is paid to do that, pretending to be a community member. We can't and we won't let wealthy people roll back climate process for their own financial gain. When I say Anne-Marie Lewis, you say Levis, you say our city isn't for sale. Anne-Marie Levis! Our city isn't for sale! Anne-Marie Levis! Our city isn't for sale! Alright, finally, let's talk about Travel Lane County, which is an organization whose job is to like get more people to come and travel in Lane County, which is cool, sounds good, important. But why are they opposing the electrification? I genuinely don't know, but they are funded primarily by our taxes. So that raises the question of why are they lobbying against a bill, against a law that the city of Eugene has passed with county funds. So when I say, Travel Lane County, you say our health isn't for sale. Travel Lane County. Our health isn't for sale. Travel Lane County. Our health isn't for sale. It's not just Northwest Natural we're up against, it's their allies, and that's why we wanted to come up here today and name who those people and places are. But we are here because we are winning. We are here because we have gotten the city council to pass this ordinance. And we are winning because of the strength of our intergenerational movement. We are powerful because we are united together against these really rich people who just want to keep making more money off of our future. So right now, I want everybody to turn to somebody else in the crowd. Maybe you don't know them that well. Hopefully you don't know them that well. And introduce yourself. Ask them why you're here. Ask them why they're here. Because it's that that's going to keep this going and take all these people down.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
My name's Lottie, and I'm a senior at Churchill High School. I've been president of the Climate Action Club there for 2 years now, and outside of school, I'm also the president of the 4J Climate Justice Team and a regional leader for Our Future, which is a collective of students across Oregon that work on climate justice. I'm gonna change the tone a little bit here, and I'm gonna talk about my climate story a little bit and why I believe SB 854 Oregon's climate education bill needs to be passed, and how I need your help because we can't do it unless we all work together, right? But before I start, I want to thank you all for being here and sticking around for our speeches. Since 2019, when I went to my first climate strike, I've dreamed of standing here talking to you all. And I hope while you're here, though it is very bittersweet, you feel a sense of hope in seeing everyone here today who is showing that they are willing to stand up for a better future. So, to start off, I have a question for you all. What is your climate story? Meaning, how has climate change affected you? And when was the first time you learned about it? So think about that. While you're thinking, here's my story. Until I was 8, I grew up in Utah where the only thing remotely close to climate education was that we needed to reduce, reuse, and recycle. But the other kids and I were never taught why this was important, just that we should. As I grew older, I always wondered why the once luscious white snow in my town started to turn dark and slushy, and why it would come later and later every year. Now I know the black snow was due to the extreme pollution in Salt Lake City that came through our valley. At 8, I moved to California. Within the first month of moving, heartbroken already from leaving everything I'd ever known, the city came to my house and cut down all the trees that I had found a source of comfort in. I remember crying and not understanding why these beings that had been alive longer than me could cause so much destruction if accidentally lit on fire. After moving, it was also suddenly a huge deal to save water, and when taking a shower to only use cold water, or else the city would threaten to turn our water off permanently. But I didn't know why this was. I just knew that it was the way it was. Because of this, I was once again suffocated with questions regarding the environment around me. When I confronted my teachers and other adults with these questions, I was always told that it was just the new normal, and that someday I would be told why this was. But what is the secret everybody gets to know but me, I thought. Whoa, lost my place there. But then life would get in the way as it does, and my questions would be pushed to the side once again. During these years, we would go on road trips back to Utah to visit my family, and while driving, we would pass by many farms filled with thousands of cows and other livestock in the smallest enclosures I'd ever seen. The animals were eating and sitting on their own feces, along with standing on a mountain of dead calves and cows below them. Around these fields, there were factories that would fill the sky with thick clouds and would emit an unbearable smell. Every time we passed through these areas, I would become more numb to the sight until it was normalized. Then, when I moved to Oregon, where I live now, the rain is messing up my speech here. So sorry. One sec. Then when I moved to Oregon, where I live now, I was met with the ice storm that caused my family and I to live in my mom's office for 4 weeks. During the same year, I learned why I had seen all of these things in my life but had never been given an explanation. It was in my 6th grade science class that I was told it was because the earth was dying and that it would be for the rest of my life, and that there were some things that I could do, but in the long run they were insignificant. After hearing this, I was overwhelmingly confused by the idea that the earth was dying just as I was starting to grow up. I also want to add that not only growing up in Utah, but also having a conservative extended family, climate conversations were heavily shunned. Talking about climate change was considered too political and something we shouldn't be worrying about. Due to this shame, I didn't know the actual definition of climate change until this class. And after being given what might be the harshest definition of what climate change is, we were expected to move on from this massive concept that had literally just changed my entire perception of the world. Is it really just this impending doom that keeps inching closer and closer every day? Was my family right to not learn about it? Would I be happier not knowing about this? For me, these questions didn't stop me, but rather pushed me forward in an urge to learn as much as I could. But I feel like most people who are in a similar situation, especially when you're surrounded by people who love, who don't think the same way as you, would have just gone with what they'd heard their whole lives. This is the reason why I'm standing before you today, and why we need to require climate education in schools K through 12 in Oregon. Climate education needs to be accessible to those who don't have families who talk about it or believe in it. This is an issue that everyone needs to be made aware of, and not just the textbook definition, but also what we can do as a community. As SB 854's climate education bill will be integrated into age-appropriate manner in all subject areas so that it isn't such a harsh awakening. Students will not only learn the real science behind climate change, but also the anthropologic side of it and how BIPOC, LGBTQ+, and underrepresented communities are disproportionately affected, and the history of what Indigenous people have done for thousands of years to keep the ecosystem across Oregon healthy and safe. I know this is a long speech, but before I go, I want to give you an example of what this curriculum might look like, and it's interactive. So, raise your hand if math is not your favorite subject. Okay, I agree with most of you. It is just something that has never come to me. But anyways, the thing that I love about this bill is that some math curriculum will be tied back into climate change. And I know personally, anytime I come across a word problem like Sally has X amount of apples, when she starts, how many will she have in 2 hours? I always think, I don't care how many apples Sally is eating in 2 hours. I need a word problem that is going to engage me with real data and that I can apply to my real life. Anyways, thank you all for being here today and standing up with me for our future. We're standing up for the future of our children and our grandchildren. If you want to help me support this bill for better education, for a better educational future, and make it so that we don't have to continue coming out here time and time again in the rain after broken promises, please go see Tammy, Mel, and Joshua in the Our Future table after speeches. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. I have to get back to my notes. I forgot I'm also doing another part. Okay. Did you guys think about those climate stories and how climate change has affected you? Okay. So, raise your hand if you ever had to stay inside because of wildfire smoke. Look around, see how many people. Okay, put them down. Raise your hand if you've ever felt like adults weren't listening to you when you asked them to change and take action on climate change. Okay. Raise your hand if you've ever had your power go out because of an extreme storm. Okay. Raise your hand if it's ever been too hot for you to go outside. Okay. Raise your hand if you've ever had to evacuate due to wildfires. Okay. If you have asthma, raise your hand. Okay. Raise your hand if you've ever been worried about your future because of climate change. Thank you. Raise your hand if you think fossil fuel corporations shouldn't be allowed to roll back climate policy. Thank you so much. Okay. You guys are amazing. In this next part, we're going to have a couple students come up and tell you what their climate story is. Okay, come on up, guys. Okay, everyone give it up for these beautiful people.
Hi. As high school students, we've already seen the effects of climate change on our friends and communities. We can't keep making excuses on why we can't take action. Small changes like climate education and electrification can have big impacts and create a more positive future for us all.
Hi, my name's Maya. I'm a student, and it's 2 o'clock, and I should be in school. But I'm here, and I'm so proud to be here, but it shouldn't be my job to be here advocating for my voice. My future should be secure. So thank you for being here to protect my future, and
Hello, everyone.
everyone. I'm just going to share a little bit about what made me passionate about climate change. So I spent the first 13 years of my life overseas, and I lived in a city where there was so much pollution that I never saw the blue sky. And when I moved to America, I thought it was so incredible that I could see the blue sky every single day. But then that's being taken away by our wildfires. That's our natural environment, our beauty of all around the world is being taken away.
Thank you guys so much. Okay, we have one more speaker, or two more. Well, they're in the same section. But anyways, are you guys ready to get hyped back up? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Are you guys ready to get hyped back up? So much better.
Hi, my name is Sylvie Groshong. I'm a sophomore at North Eugene High School, and I was asked to give this speech on behalf of North Eugene High School's Eco Club. So many young people here in Eugene, Oregon, and across the world are already being affected by the climate crisis. From floods and wildfires to droughts and heat waves, the climate crisis is happening now. We are the future generation. These are our lives at stake. The climate crisis is already wreaking havoc on our community, and for years now, we have been calling on our leaders to take action, to meet the goals they set in their climate recovery ordinance, to begin the transition off of fossil fuels and protect our health and our future. And they finally listened. Last month, Eugene took on the gas industry and passed a first in the state ordinance to require that new residential construction be built without fossil fuels. While this policy isn't the silver bullet, it is a strong first step into getting our city off of fossil fuels and lays the foundation for more policies in the future. Yet almost immediately after the policy was passed, Northwest Natural and its fossil fuels at the Chamber of Commerce, Funk Levis, and Travelling County began working to undermine our representative democracy and roll the policy back. Northwest Natural is now funding an effort to undermine our democracy and roll back climate policy that we, the youth here today, fought for tooth and nail for over 2 years. How do we feel about that? Northwest Natural, our state's largest fossil fuel corporation, is the sole funder of Eugene's residents for energy choice, to the tune of almost $700,000, paying for canvassers to come into our community and lie to our neighbors. How do we feel about that? And they're not doing this alone. Northwest Natural's friends at the Eugene Chamber of Commerce and the Fossil Fuels Corporation mouthpiece, Anne Marie Levis, are working overtime to make this seem like a grassroots effort to oppose this policy. But let's be clear, Eugene residents support climate action. Eugene residents support environmental justice. And Eugene residents elected our mayor and city council to make decisions on complex issues, and that's just what they did. So we're here today to make it clear to Northwest Natural and their fossil fuels that they cannot just throw a tantrum when they don't get their way. They cannot just buy off Eugene voters when our city council does something they don't like. Okay, so let's end this with a few chants. So when I say Northwest Natural, you say our future isn't for sale. Northwest Natural! Our future isn't for sale! Northwest Natural!